What is up, my crafty friends? My name is Carrie and welcome back to my channel. It's Friday, so y'all know it's time for another Fab Collab Friday, but y'all, this Friday is extra special because Keisha from Sweet Urban Rose and myself have invited y'all to collab along with us. Now, if you missed that open invite, I'll put a link to that right up above. All you've got to do is watch that, follow all of the directions, and I'll leave this playlist open so you can add your video anytime your little heart gets ready. Do not let it stop you if you do not get this video today, because we would love to have y'all join us. Now, for my project, y'all know if you follow my channel that I live at the beach, so of course I'm gonna have a lot of coastal Christmas stuff. Well, wait until you see what I do with some of the stuff that I found at the Dollar Tree this summer. This is the perfect time to pick up that coastal stuff at the Dollar Tree or any of your other favorite dollar stores, because with just a little bit of magic, you can transform and do what I call Christmas-fi. If you don't know what Christmas-fi is, keep watching this video because I'm totally going to show you how you can take ordinary stuff from the Dollar Tree and make it look like it's for Christmas. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a big thumbs up because that would mean the world to me. And y'all don't forget to check out everybody else that is in this playlist along with us, because there are going to be some amazing Christmas DIYs. I know it's only July, but do not let that stop you. I'm so ready for Christmas. I could just scream. I cannot wait for Christmas to get here. It's one of my favorite times of the year. With all of the craziness going on in the world right now, I absolutely need this little release. If you're not already subscribed to my channel, consider hitting that subscribe button down below and turning on all those notifications so the next time that I upload a video or go live on YouTube, you're going to be one of the first ones to find out about it. So yeah, that's enough talking, y'all. Let's start DIYing. All right, y'all, so let's get started on our first project. So I've got 2 sets of the foam dice from the Dollar Tree. Doesn't matter what color because we're going to totally transform these. I'm also going to use some of these little wooden stickers, and I'm going to use this round one here that looks like maybe a lemon or a lime or possibly even an orange, but I'm going to transform this into a little sand dollar. I'm also going to use a pack of the wooden letters from Dollar General. You can pick these up at Michael's or maybe even Amazon, but these came from Dollar General, and I think they were maybe a couple of dollars. So the first thing that I want to do is to work on my dice. Now, I'll be honest, you can totally just paint your dice like they are, but y'all know me, I don't do anything easy, and I want to make mine look like rustic wood. So let me show you how we're going to do that. I've gone ahead right now and done one ahead of time just so to see if it would work, and it worked really well. You just have to be super careful. You've got to promise me you're not going to cut yourself. So figure out which way you want your dice to be going. For this project, I'm going to spell out NOEL. It's going to say N-O-E-L, and I want my pieces to look like the rustic wood like this. Now, one thing I did notice, and I did not notice until today, that all of these dice are not the same size. Like, I'm not sure if y'all can see the obvious difference here, but these red dice are much bigger than these orange dice. I mean, it's a big, big difference. So I don't mind it, but if you do, you might want to double check that before you start planning your project to make sure that yours are the same, because mine are not. So I'm just gonna take a really sharp X-Acto knife and I'm gonna carve in just a little bit on my dice. Now, like I said, you can totally just do your regular thing with your dice and just paint them with chalk paint, or some people have done like a little balloon technique. I've yet to try the balloon technique because my chalk paint seems to work pretty well. So I'm just taking my X-Acto knife and just sort of cutting in little pieces to make it look like aged wood. I'll cut a few little V's out. Just have to be super careful, y'all. And because mine are going to be sitting on my shelf, I want to make sure I do the tops. Now, to be totally honest, I'm not going to do the backs or the sides or the bottoms. I'm just going to do the top and the front side because that's all that I'm going to see. So now I want to maybe do some little like knot holes or something, and I'll just take my X-Acto knife and carve out a small little hole. And then I'll use the back of my X-Acto knife and just sort of make little indentions to make that look like wood. Isn't that cool? Now once we get this painted, it's going to look awesome. So now I'll just take the same back side of my X-Acto knife and just kind of dig into it. You can make your lines go wavy, just kind of use your imagination. And I'll do the same thing for the top sides. You could even put some more knot holes on the top. It's totally up to you how aged or rustic you want your piece to be. Okay, so I've got 2 done so far, and now I'll do the same thing to the other 2, and when I come back, we'll start painting these. Okay, so I've got all of my blocks already carved out here, and you can see what it looks like. It's going to be so awesome. So I've got a new product that I want to try out here, and this is the SureBonder Cool Shot Hot Glue Gun, and also the Cool Shot Glue Sticks. Now, SureBonder did send me these to play around with, and I thought this would be a great project to test it out on, because I know sometimes if you use one of the normal temp glue guns, then that can sort of melt your dice, and then you may have a hot mess. Now, you don't have to glue these together, but I do want mine to stay in a nice even row, so I thought this would be the best way to do it. So I am going to just hot glue these together really quick, and let's test out this SureBonder Cool Shot glue gun. Now, gluing these together is going to make it a lot easier to paint too. So far, so good. I do just want to test out the coolness of this. You guys, like for real, I just did not burn my hand at all like that. This may be my new favorite toy. And because it's already cool, you don't have to wait as long for your hot glue to cool down before you can, you know, mess with it. So that's a big plus. Now, for this last one, I did go ahead and start painting it before I realized, oops, I should have glued this down first. So I am making a little bit of a mess here, but that's okay. I'm just going to go ahead and glue this one down. And now we'll just paint it as one piece instead of doing 4 separate pieces. I did distress this one end of my dice, and I'm going to make sure I have the other end distressed too, since while it's sitting on our shelf, those will show. So make sure you do your ends if you glue your pieces together. Okay, so the paint that I'm going to be using today is Miss Lillian's No Wax Chalk Paint, and this is in the color Patina. You can use a lot of different paints with these dice. I know a lot of people do the balloon technique, but I personally like to use chalk paint because it dries fast, and usually with just 2 coats it will cover. Now, I've used the Waverly chalk paint in the color Plaster before. I've also used the Rust-Oleum chalk paint in the color Linen White, and all of those work extremely well. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to finish distressing this one side, and then I'm going to paint my coat of paint on the whole thing. Okay, and this is just one coat of paint, but you can see how nice it covers. So I'm going to let this one side dry, and then I'll go finish painting the whole thing, and then I'll put the second coat on. Okay, so I've got one coat of paint on two sides of my dice, and while this is drying, I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next part. So we'll just push this out of the way. And I want to show you how I transformed one of these little circle wood cutouts into this little sand dollar. Now, granted, I do live at the beach, and I could very easily just walk to the beach and grab a sand dollar off of the beach, but I know not everybody has that luxury, so I want to show you how to create your own. So I just took one of the cutouts, and I just used my scissors. But if you look at the little segments of the little orange slice here, or maybe lemon, lime, whatever, you can kind of use that as your guide for your little sand dollar. So this is what we're going to transform it into. So I want to use these little segments sort of as a guide. Just take my little Sharpie. And it kind of reminds me of a little man. I don't know why, but it does. We'll just make this a little bit easier when we paint. And I totally admit I'm not up to date on my sand dollar anatomy, but I'm quite sure that every one of these little pieces has a name. I just don't know what they are. Now, in a real sand dollar, this part down here that's got the three little pieces, it's a little bit flatter. So I want to take my scissors and just sort of flatten that little piece out. So now I'm just going to take my scissors and just sort of cut some little pieces out of it, just so it's not perfect. It's totally up to you how broken you want your sand dollar to be. If you've ever gone sand dollar hunting at the beach before, you know that it's almost impossible to find one that's not broken in some shape, form, or fashion. So that's all we're doing here, is just sort of breaking it. You can use the tips of your scissors. Just don't want it to be perfectly round. Okay, that looks pretty good. So now I want to take my sandpaper and just smooth out those edges. Okay, I think I'm really digging the shape of this. Now you can see I took my sandpaper and sort of rounded off that edge too, just to sort of soften it. Okay, so now we're going to need a white paint and an off-white paint. It's totally up to you which brand you use, but I'm just using what I've got on hand, and that is a Craft Mark paint in white and a Waverly chalk paint in plaster. Like I said, totally up to you. You just want one white color and one off-white color. So let me move this out of the way. So I'll start off first with my white color. We'll just paint this. Now, because I used a Sharpie, I'm going to be able to see my lines underneath it. even after it dries. Make sure you paint your edges too, because those are going to show. Now this would be super cute to spell out joy or ho ho ho, but I'm going to be using the word NOEL. So while I've got my white paint out, I am going to go ahead and paint my N, my E, and my L. I love it. Okay, so my dies aren't quite dry yet, and neither are my letters, but I'm gonna go ahead and paint the second coat off camera. When I come back, I'll put the finishing touches on my little sand dollar and we'll glue everything together, and we'll also put some of this distressing onto our dice here. Okay, my dice are all dry. And I think this looks so awesome. Now, let me just show you what it looks like if you decide not to do the wood distressing. It's just gonna look like this, which is okay, but I think this looks so much cooler. So I painted the base again, just solid white. Now I'm gonna take my off-white and where I drew my little man, just want to kind of dab. I do want to sort of create a little bit of texture, because in a real sand dollar this is sort of you know what, actually let me try something new. Let's back up. Let's try our glue gun. Let's try this. This is totally me just going off the cuff here, because in a real sand dollar, this is sort of raised up a little bit. Let's see what this looks like. If we give that texture with our glue gun. I think I'm really digging this, y'all. Okay, so it's cooled because it's already a cool temp hot glue. It only takes 1 second for it to cool off all the way, which is awesome. So now let's try it. I'll take my chalk paint and just sort of give it that off-white color. And you don't have to worry about getting it, you know, exactly on your hot glue. If you get a little out of your lines, that's totally okay. Oh, y'all, this turned out great. Much better than the last one. What do you think? Super cool. So I'll add a little bit of my off-white just around the edges to sort of give it some extra color, so it's not bone stark white. And I'll add a little bit onto my Noel. Just don't want it to be super stark. And there's not much of a contrast, but it's just enough to give it a little bit of depth. Okay, so I'm gonna wash my brush out now. And I'm going to take the same turquoise color that I used here, because the pieces that are in the center, or the pieces that are going to be in between my little center pieces here, those are actually supposed to be a cutout. So the easiest way I could think of when I glue this on here, I want to make it look like it is actually cut out. So the best way to do that is going to be to paint it the same color as this block. I'll put one big one down here in between this. And then the other ones are going to go on his little arm, this little arm, this little arm, and this little arm. And there we have our little sand dollar. Isn't that adorable? That's going to be so cute sitting up there. But before we hot glue all of this down, I do want to take a little bit of my Waverly chalk paint in antique wax, and I just want to distress these edges a little bit. I want to distress the edges of my blocks, and also just a tiny bit on my letters. I just want to make it pop a little bit. Now for my dice, I'm just going to take a small paintbrush and just sort of get some of that dark wax down inside those holes. I don't want a lot of it, but I do want it to be enough so that it pops. Now I do want to take just a little bit of my white and just sort of highlight some areas. I love it. All right, now it's time to glue on. Let's put our N, R-O, R-E, and the L. And I'll still use my same Sure Bonder Cool Shot glue gun. Okay, there's our first project done. Okay, for the next project, I'm going to take one of these glass hurricane vases that I picked up from Dollar Tree, and I'm also going to use this same set of little wood cutouts from the last project, but this time I'm going to use one of the pineapples. I'm also going to use two more of the letters out of here, and that's going to be the J and the Y. We're going to spell joy. But first, I want to make this jar just a little bit prettier. So I want to dress up this hurricane vase. So I'm going to take my blue painter's tape, and I'm just going to mark off about 1.5 inches up. Let's see if I can get this to go straight the first time around. And I did. This is just going to give me a nice crisp line. And I'm going to use my gold Arteza metallic paints here. And these are seriously my new favorite metallic paints because it only takes a little bit. And I'm just going to use the regular gold. I've never tried to use these on glass before, so I'm not for sure how many coats it's going to take, but I'm going to let this first one dry really good, and then I'm going to go back and hit it with a second one. So I'm hoping 2, maybe 3 coats is going to give me enough. So there's 1 coat, and then we'll let it dry and we'll come back and put another coat. In the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and paint my little letters here, and I'm going to use the same Miss Lillian's No Wax chalk paint in the color Patina from the last project, but I want to paint the top of my little pineapple here in that same gold. And the edges already have sort of like a brown color on them, so I'm not going to worry about painting the edges. Okay, that was easy enough. Now, once this is dry, I'm going to give this a second, possibly a third coat, and we'll come back and we'll put it all together and we'll put everything in our base and we can move on to the next one. Okay, so this is 1 coat, and I'm okay with these brush marks here, but I want to try something different. I want to see if I can sort of make it have like a gold leaf texture to it. So I'm just going to take my brush and just sort of pat it up and down. I think I really like the way this looks better than seeing the brush marks. I love textures. That's the one thing I really love about these Arteza metallic paints is they're very, very thick. Okay, now let's pull our tape off. so pretty. So now all I'm going to do next is just to glue my words Joy on my glass, and then I'll fill it up with some beach sand and some seashells. This will be ready to go. Now you could even leave off the words Joy and just use this just like it is for a really pretty beach themed candle holder. Isn't that pretty? I love this. So now I'll just put a little bit of my beach sand down in the bottom. I'll fill it up to about where my gold line is. I'll pop my candle down in there, and there we go. Isn't that pretty? Okay, that's 2 projects down. Okay, y'all, now that we've done a couple of rustic things, I want to kick it up a notch because I need some stuff to go on my tree. And I absolutely love to put glittery things on my tree because when the light hits the glitter, it just makes everything twinkle and sparkle, and it makes my little heart just sing with joy at Christmas time. So I picked up this little flamingo from the Dollar Tree, and the great thing about doing a beach themed Christmas is you can find tons of stuff in Dollar Tree right now that are beach related, and it only takes a little bit of imagination and some glitter and glue to kick this up a notch and make it perfect for Christmas. So I've got these gorgeous glitters from Hemway, and y'all, let me just see if I can get the camera to pick up the sparkle on this. Holy moly, like it is absolutely beautiful. So I want to flock my little flamingo here with this glitter. I'm going to use the glue that I picked up from the Dollar Tree and just a regular old paintbrush. And watch how easy this is. Now make sure while you're painting on your glue that you don't go too fast. Like you want to kind of work in small sections, and you want to make sure that all of your glue gets down inside all the little crevices, because we do want our glitter to stick. And I did test this out on the back side here to make sure that it would work, and y'all, it worked beautifully. But I only had one of these, so I couldn't do the whole thing. I'm probably going to work in 3 sections, 2 on his chest, and then I'll do his head last. Hemway makes some beautiful glitters. It's really, really super fine, or you can get the chunkier glitters. But they are absolutely stunning. So sparkly. I don't usually do a lot of glitter stuff, but at Christmas time, my inner diva comes out. Okay, now watch this. Oh my goodness. Look at that. Whoa! Isn't it beautiful. I mean, this little flamingo is going to be the most beautiful thing that my Christmas tree has ever seen. So I'm going to go ahead and flock the whole thing with this glitter. And then I'll come back and I'm going to give the beak and his little metal legs a makeover. Okay, so that's got one side done. I'm gonna use my leftover glitter. I'm just gonna dump it back into my little package here. We don't want to waste any of that beautiful glitter, but I do want to let this dry before I flip it over and do the next side. So when I come back, I'll have this side, I'll have both sides already done, and then we can go to the next step. Okay, y'all, here she is and all of her beautiful sparkles. Now, I did go ahead and insert the little metal pieces that came for the legs, but I bent one of those pieces so that it looks like my little peacock is standing on one leg. So I just want to hot glue these two pieces together so they don't go anywhere. And the great thing about using my Cool Shot hot glue gun is I can go ahead and touch this and it's not going to burn my fingers. I just put a little bit of hot glue down in the hole and just stuck these in there and put a little hot glue around it so that it doesn't go anywhere. So now I want to take my gold paint from Arteza, and these are just the acrylic colors. It comes in a set of 8. And I want to paint the beak of my flamingo here. Paint does dry pretty quickly, so once it's dry I will simply flip it over and paint the other side, and if I need to put a second coat on the front side, then I'll do that too. So give me just one moment to get that done, and when we come back it'll all be dry. So to finish off my little flamingo, I did decide to give it a little Santa Claus hat and a little necklace. I'm not sure what this is made out of. Maybe mistletoe, I guess. I'm not sure. But it was the only thing that I had on hand that looked remotely like Christmas. So we're just going to go with that. Now, when Dollar Tree does start putting out their Christmas stuff, I might change this out to something different, maybe with some holly berries or something. But in the meantime, this is a great alternative. I actually picked this greenery up from Walmart. And all I did was just pull some of these little pieces off of here and put the two of those together to make his little necklace. Super easy to do. When Dollar Tree starts to put out their little mini Santa hats, you could totally do that, but my Dollar Tree does not have those out yet, so I decided to make my own. And let me show you how easy that was to do. I literally just free-handed this little cutout for his hat. I knew I didn't want it straight across, so I just kind of did a little curve action here. And this is just normal felt that I picked up from Walmart. Put a little bit of my hot glue down one edge to sort of make that into that cone shape. There's his little hat. Now, to make the little ball on the end, just took some white yarn, and this actually came from the Dollar Tree. I was kind of excited when I found this little ball of yarn from there. I kind of picked up a lot of different colors, and I'm just gonna kind of wrap it around itself until I get like a ball shape. If you happen to have one of the little pom-poms, you could totally use that too. But for some reason, I could not locate mine. So we are going with this option. where having a low temp glue gun will definitely save your fingers. So now I'll just take it and roll it into a little ball and pop that on the end of my Santa hat. Now I've got 3 more little pieces of this same yarn, and these are roughly 10 inches. I'll secure the end, and then I'm just going to braid these together. Okay. And now I'll just glue this to the bottom of my little Santa hat, and that's going to be my rim. Okay, now to put it on top of my little flamingo, I just sort of sat it down and made his little hat kind of come down into a shape, and then just glued that to itself, just so that the little hat kind of fell back like that. Isn't that cute? Super easy. Totally works if you cannot find the Santa hats. I honestly think this flamingo might be my favorite part of all of these DIYs that I did today. Okay, so for the next project, I'm going to take some of these wood cutouts that I picked up from the Crafter Square section of Dollar Tree. And I know they just look like plain wood cutouts, but wait until we Christmasify these. So I'm going to use some more of my Hemway Glitters here. And I'm going to give them a total makeover with very little effort. So I'm going to start off first with the little whales. And I've got 2 of these guys here. And I think I want to do them opposites of each other. I don't want them to go the same way. So I'm going to take my Sure Bonder hot glue gun, and this is the Cool Shot gun again. And I just want to give this a little bit of dimension. So I'll spray. So I'll just pull some down. I'll put a little more and pull it down. And a little more and pull it down. And it's just going to give it just a slight little dimension. This is totally optional because you can just paint what's already there. But I think just giving it that little bit of dimension makes a big difference. I'm going to use a clean sheet of copy paper for this part because I don't want any of my pink glitter to get inside of the areas that I'm working. So I've got a couple of different silvers here. And these are going to be the Ultra Sparkle Glitters from Hemway. And this one is like a super fine, and this one is just a fine. So I think for this part, I want to do the super fine. And I'll do just like we did with our little flamingo. I love this champagne color. It's going to be really pretty with the color that I'm going to put on our whales. Okay, so now I want to take this beautiful ultra sparkly glitter, and let me open this up so you can see it. I can't even believe that I get to use this. Look at that. So stunning. I can so see doing a mermaid with this glitter. It is so pretty. It is just a little bit translucent, so it may be a good idea on the next one to put just a base coat of a blue down, just so that it's not as translucent. Or I can always give it a second coat after this one dries. So I'm going to add my second coat to this one, and I'll do it the same way. And I just used my glue gun to make some little waves, and when it was dry, I painted it with the same champagne glitter that I used for the top. Now, let me go ahead while I'm at it and add in my little hanger. So I'll just make me a little loop using my jute twine from the Dollar Tree. And I'm just going to use that for my hanger. When it hangs from my tree, it'll hang just like this. Once this cools off completely, I am going to use some of my metallic paint and just paint the back of it, just so it has a finished look to it. But there it is. Isn't that precious? So stinking cute. I love it. It's going to look so adorable hanging on my Christmas tree. And I'll do this one the same exact way. Okay, before I get started on my next ornament, I am going to go ahead and clean up my space because I've got a lot of different glitters here. And I'm going to use my cute little ladybug vacuum that I picked up from Amazon. If you want to check out this little ladybug vacuum for yourself, I'll put a link to that down below in the description box. It came from Amazon and it was like 10 bucks, I think, or less than 10 bucks. But she does a great job of helping me keep my workspace nice and clean. Okay, so the next ornament that I want to work on is going to be this cute little seahorse, and it is just adorable like it is, but I want to add a little bit of dimension. So again, I'm going to use my Surebonder Cool Shot glue gun, and I just want to highlight some of these areas that I know should be raised up on a regular seahorse. So put a little bit of pressure and then pull down, and that'll give you a nice little glue gun drip. I'll do the same thing with his head. And this is totally optional. I'm just not a fan of like super flat things. I really like texture and dimension. So that's why I'm opting to do this way. And now for his belly, I'll just put me one little line here, and then I'll use the same technique of pulling down. I'll give this just 1 second to dry, and then I'll pull all of my glue gun strings off, and then we can start putting our glitter on him. Isn't he cute? So now I want to take another clean sheet of my copy paper. Just makes it easier when you're trying to clean up all of your messes. You want to make sure that you use a clean piece every time you change colors, or else you will have a mess on your hands if you're trying to recycle your glitters back into your package. Now, the color I'm going to be using for my seahorse is this pretty rose gold color from Hemway, and this is one of the ultra fine glitters, so you can see it is like super, super sparkly. Let me see if I can get you a... Going to take my regular school glue from Dollar Tree. Make sure I've got everything covered. Okay, now we're just going to sprinkle it on. Isn't that a beautiful color? I really love this. Okay, while this little guy is drying, I do want to make a little extra embellishment for him. He kind of looks like he needs something else besides just a hanger. So I think I want to add in maybe a tassel and some of these pearls that I picked up from Dollar Tree. I'm going to just take one of my pearls. So I'm just going to cut me a little piece of jute twine. This is maybe roughly 4 or 5 inches long. And I want to bend it in half, make a little loop. Then I'm just going to thread both of those pieces through my little pearl. So next I want to take maybe another 3 or 4 inch piece. I'm going to go ahead and cut it because my hands are going to be full. Then I'm going to just lay this to the side. So now I'm going to take my jute twine again, and I'm going to use 3 of my fingers, and I'm going to make a tassel. So I'm going to wrap this roughly 10 times. There's 1. Now, if you wrap more than 10 times, obviously you're going to have a much fuller tassel, but for the size that I'm doing, 10 seems to work out pretty well. So now that I've got it onto my fingers like this, I'll just slip them off. Now, when you do your counts, you want to make sure that your starting and your stopping point are on the bottom. That's going to make sure that your tassels hang like they're supposed to. You can go back and trim this off whenever you're done, but just make sure that your stopping and starting points are at the bottom. So now I'm going to pinch the top here, just like this. I'm going to take my loop, I'm going to slide it through here, and I'm just going to loop my pearl onto it, and this is going to be my hanger, just like that. So next I'm going to take my little short piece that I've already cut off. I'm going to glue that to the top. And because I'm using my Cool Shot glue gun, my fingers are not being burned. Keep wrapping this until I'm at the end. And now we're ready to cut our loops on the bottom of our tassel. You see I've got these 2 that are a little bit longer. We'll just snip those off. And now we've got a cute little tassel to put on the bottom of our Seahorse. Now I'm going to go ahead and cut my hanger at the same time. And I'll turn this over and glue both of those on. You can make your hangers as long or as short as you want to. It's totally up to you. I'm just going to flip my little guy over. Now, once I'm done with all of my ornaments, I will go back and paint the back sides of these just so that they're pretty too. So there's our hanger, and now I'll glue my tassel on. Now I'm going to glue the tassel on the little curved part of the Seahorse, but I want it to end up in an even line with my hanger. I don't want him to hang crooked. So I'll glue this part down first so that I know that's even. And then I'll just use the other part around his little tail. And there we go. There's our little seahorse ornament. Wasn't that precious? Now, when I'm done with all of my ornaments, like I said, I'm going to paint the back sides of those, and I'm also going to paint the edges. You can use the same paint to paint your edges, but it's really easier if you use a paint pen, so I'm going to use my bronze paint pen from Arteza. Isn't that precious? Okay, there's our seahorse ornament. Okay, so now I'm ready for my last and final project. I'm going to turn this little sea turtle into a Christmas ornament for my tree. So I'm going to grab me a new piece of paper, but like the other ones, I don't like the flatness of it. Yes, I could just glitter this, but that would not be any fun. So I'm going to add a little bit of texture using my glue gun from SureBonder. I'll start off just making a little texture right in the center. Just like that. And then I'm going to go around and just make the little turtle shell pieces around the sides too. This is totally optional. You don't have to do this, but I just really love how the texture looks. Now, if you'll notice, I'm not going all the way next to the piece that's in the center. I do want it to kind of slope down a little bit. And you'll see why when we put the glitter on. Kind of looks like the radioactive symbol. You can use just a regular hot glue gun for this, but I've been using the Cool Shot all day and I just honestly didn't feel like changing out glue guns. So this is what we've got. So once all of my glue is cooled off, I'll pull the strings off, and then we're gonna use our glitter and go over the top of just the shell part. Now for the shell, I'm going to use this super chunky glitter, and y'all, look at this. Oh my goodness. Look at those beautiful chunky pieces. I mean, it is just so sparkly. I can't wait to see what this turns out like. Okay, so this is pretty cooled off. So now I'll just take my glue, just like we did for the other ornaments. Here goes nothing. Wow. Look how pretty. See, you've got just enough texture on that shell. I love it. Now I am gonna push all of my chunky pieces up to the edge because I don't want any hanging over. I want it to look nice and crisp. So when I do his feet, it'll look nice. Okay. So now I'll dump this glitter back in my bucket. Because I'm changing glitters, I'm going to get me a new piece of paper. Now for his head and his arms and his legs, I'm going to use this gorgeous holographic aqua color. Look at this. So pretty. Oh my goodness. Look how precious he is. Now I will add my hanger to this ornament as well, just like I did the Seahorse. And I'm probably going to add in the same tassel that I did on the Seahorse because I absolutely love how this looks. And truth be told, I'm going to add more to the little whale in the previous project because I think that just gives it a nice finishing touch. Don't you? Okay, there's a little sea turtle. He's so cute. I'm going to use my bronze acrylic paint from Arteza to paint all of the backs of my ornaments just so that they're nice and finished. Okay, y'all, here's all of our ornaments all together, and I think adding in the tassels was the perfect finishing touch, don't you? I think it just steps it up a notch. These are going to look awesome hanging on my Christmas tree. The Hemway glitters are just absolutely amazing. I've used a lot of glitters in my lifetime. They actually have glitters at Dollar Tree, Hobby Lobby, Michael's, Walmart. A lot of places sell those, but I really do love the Hemway glitters. Now, I've got a 20% off coupon if you're interested in checking out Hemway for yourself. The coupon code is MomAdaresToDIY, and I'll put a link to Hemway as well as that code down below in case you want to check those out. Hemway has craft glitters, they've got cosmetic grade glitters, they've even got the glitter grout that is super, super awesome. So definitely check out Hemway's line of glitters. They're absolutely super cool. What do you think about these ornaments? Aren't they precious? Take a look at the backs of these ornaments. I did paint those with my bronze Arteza paint, and I think it looks beautiful. Which one of these ornaments is your favorite? I honestly can't decide, but I think I'm totally digging these sea turtles. Which one is your favorite? Let me know down in the comments below. That does it for today's video, y'all. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a big thumbs up because that would mean the world to me. And don't forget to check out everybody else that is down in the playlist below because I know without a doubt that their projects are going to be absolutely amazing. Y'all give me so much inspiration and I pick up so many tips along the way. And I love it when y'all collab with us. And don't forget, let me know down in the comments below which one of my projects is your favorite. I'm having such a hard time and it's going to be so hard to pack these up and wait until Christmas to put them out. It's gonna break my heart, but I'm gonna do it anyway. Until next time, happy DIYing, y'all.